There are some farewells that resonate differently, aren't there? Some losses that feel less like the passing of an individual and more like the turning of a page in the great American songbook of our lives. Today, we gather not just to mourn, but to understand. For the first time, we're opening the 2026 declassified files on some of the most beloved figures of our time. These aren't just stories of their final days, but revelations of the hidden pressures, the silent battles, and the profound ironies that shaped their entire existence. We say a painful goodbye to Neil Sedaka, a man whose melodies defined a generation, but his passing reminds us of other legends who left us too soon. Olivia Newton-John, Tony Bennett, Burt Reynolds, and Aretha Franklin. Their legacies are etched into our hearts, but the truth of their journeys, as these newly unsealed documents reveal, is far more complex, and in many ways, far more heartbreaking than we ever imagined. Let's begin with a name synonymous with sunshine, with youthful romance, with melodies that stick in your mind like the sweetest memory. Neil Sedaka. From the moment he first tickled the ivories at the famed Brill building, Neil's talent was undeniable. He was a classically trained pianist who found his true calling in the burgeoning world of pop music. Hits like Oh, Carol, Calendar Girl, and Breaking Up Is Hard to Do weren't just songs. They were the soundtrack to first dances, heartbreaks, and innocent summers for millions of Americans. He embodied the wholesome, energetic spirit of early rock and roll, a teen idol with a brilliant songwriter's mind, crafting tunes that were both catchy and deceptively sophisticated. His golden years were a cascade of chart-topping success, a seemingly endless parade of radio plays and adoring fans. He was, to all appearances, the king of pop, the ever-smiling, effortlessly talented maestro of melody. But the declassified files from 2026 paint a far more nuanced picture, revealing a hidden wound that never truly healed. The secret file, as it's known, isn't about scandal or misdeeds. It's about a profound professional rejection, a spiritual exhaustion that haunted him for over 60 years. The British invasion, while a seismic shift for music, was for Neil Sedaka a personal catastrophe. From 1963 to 1974, he was a ghost in his own country. Imagine being at the pinnacle of your career, only to find yourself completely erased from the American charts, forced to write for other artists while your own voice, your own brand, was considered irrelevant. This lost decade created a deep-seated fear of being forgotten, a terror of fading away again. His comeback, engineered in the mid-1970s, was one of music's greatest, but the files show it didn't erase the scar. He spent the next 50 years in a relentless private campaign to remain visible, a state of constant performance driven not just by a pure love for music, but by the terror of slipping back into obscurity. The official records will state his passing was due to complications from cardiac arrest, a natural end to a long life. But the declassified personal journals and interviews with his inner circle reveal a man who, for over 60 years, never truly recovered from that profound professional rejection. The ultimate irony, laid bare by these 2026 files, is heartbreakingly clear. The man who wrote Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, a timeless anthem of teenage heartbreak, spent his entire adult life battling a far more profound and private breakup. The one with the American public that he never fully trusted had taken him back. His most famous songs were monuments to youthful optimism, yet they were secretly buttressed by a deep, mature, and lifelong pessimism about his own staying power. He smiled through it all, but beneath the surface, a quiet, persistent battle raged. From the effervescent charm of Neil Sedaka, we now turn to a voice that could soothe a troubled heart or make you want to dance with wild abandon. The incomparable Olivia Newton-John. Her rise to fame was a masterclass in versatility and pure, unadulterated talent. Beginning with a sweet, angelic voice that crossed country and pop charts, she captivated audiences with her wholesome image and undeniable charisma. Then came Grease, a phenomenon that transformed her into a global superstar, a beacon of youthful energy and evolving femininity. From Sandy's innocent charm to her leather-clad transformation, Olivia embraced every facet of her artistry. The physical era cemented her as an icon, a woman who could effortlessly pivot from sentimental ballads to upbeat, empowering anthems. She seemed to float through her career with an almost ethereal grace, always radiating warmth and light. Yet, beneath that radiant exterior, Olivia faced a hidden pressure that would become a defining part of her later life. Her 3-decade battle with metastatic breast cancer was not just a private struggle. It was a public education in resilience, transforming her personal pain into global advocacy. The declassified files note a lifetime spent converting vulnerability into strength, a theme that unknowingly prepared her for a secret, pivotal role in another legend's story. The 2026 declassification of the Sedaka dossier points to a single, coded entry: Project Sam. For years, this was believed to be a cryptonym for some industry fallout. We now know it refers to the 1977 ballad Neil Sedaka and Phil Cody wrote specifically for Newton-John. This song, a hauntingly beautiful melody, marks the precise moment their fortunes tragically diverged. For Olivia, Sam was a platinum-selling stepping stone, a critical hit that paved the way for the pending global superstardom of Greece. For Sedaka, however, it was one of the last monumental hits he would author for another artist before the seismic shift to disco and punk rendered his brand of masterful pop commercially obsolete. Her ascent, fueled by songs like Sam, was the unwitting soundtrack to the tragic end of his reign. The file shows they were two ships passing in the night, illuminated by the flash of a single, collaborative hit. The file's starkest revelation is the irony of the song itself. The world heard Olivia singing, "Sam, Sam, you know where I am," a haunting plea to a figure from the past, a call across the years. What the secret record now shows is that the song was an unintentional epitaph. With Sam, Olivia Newton-John wasn't just singing about a lost lover. She was unknowingly performing a beautiful, heartbreaking farewell to the very era of pop music that its creator, Neil Sedaka, had perfected. It's hard to accept when such a vibrant, loving spirit is taken, isn't it? Her official passing from metastatic breast cancer was the final chapter in a life of courage and advocacy, a life that taught us all about facing adversity with grace. And in that, she truly was, and remains, an unforgettable star. From the pop brilliance of Sedaka and Newton-John, we turn our attention to a voice that transcended generations, a true titan of American music whose career spanned 7 decades, the incomparable Tony Bennett. His golden years weren't confined to a single era. They seemed to stretch across the entire 20th century and well into the 21st. Tony Bennett was more than a singer. He was a guardian of the great American songbook, a crooner whose smooth delivery and impeccable phrasing made every lyric sing. From "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" to his late career resurgence with younger artists, he proved that true artistry knows no age. He was a constant, a comforting presence, a reminder of elegance and timeless melody. His public persona was one of enduring charm and unwavering dedication to his craft. But the declassified medical file, TB-MED-7-7-A, reveals a profound, private battle that began long before his passing in 2023. In 2016, Tony Bennett was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. The secret was not the disease itself, but the conspiracy of love that surrounded him. For 5 years, his family and collaborators, particularly Lady Gaga, shielded his cognitive decline, allowing him to continue performing, to continue sharing his gift with the world. The recordings from this era are now understood to be profound documents of a man holding on to his final gift as his mind was systematically, slowly erased. Subject Bennett is the cornerstone of the Great Forgetting Dossier. While the Sedaka file details a career surviving the rock and roll tide, Bennett's file shows a man who outlasted it entirely, only to be brought down by a biological foe. The tragic link is generational extinction. Bennett and Sedaka were two of the last Italian-American titans of New York's golden age of song. With Bennett's passing, the era doesn't just end. Its memory begins to actively decay, mirroring his own neurological decline. The tragedy isn't just one man's death. It's the archival loss of an entire American epoch. The cruel central irony, as noted in the final psychological assessment, TB-PSY-FINAL, is staggering. A man who devoted his life to preserving the memory of the great American songbook was ultimately robbed of his own personal memories. In his final years, Bennett often appeared lost and confused until the music started. He may not have known where he was. He may not have remembered the conversation he just had. But he knew, note for note, every lyric to "I Left My Heart in San Francisco." The songs remembered him, even when he could no longer remember himself. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the fragility of memory and the enduring power of art? How often do we truly appreciate our heroes while they are still walking among us, before their own memories begin to fade? Please share in the comments which of his songs touched your heart the most, because as long as we remember them, they are never truly gone. From the resonant melodies of Tony Bennett, our journey now takes us to the silver screen, to a man whose charisma and roguish charm defined an era, Burt Reynolds. His rise to fame was meteoric, embodying the quintessential American tough guy with a twinkle in his eye. From Deliverance to Smokey and the Bandit and The Longest Yard, Burt Reynolds was a box office king. He exuded an effortless cool, a masculine confidence that made him a global sex symbol. He was known for his daring, often performing his own stunts, cementing his image as an indestructible man of action. His golden years were a whirlwind of iconic roles, talk show appearances, and a public persona that was as captivating off-screen as it was on. He had that rare quality of being both a movie star and a beloved, relatable figure. But the declassified Reynolds dossier finally connects the dots, revealing a decades-long struggle hidden behind that famous smile. The critical event wasn't his passing from cardiopulmonary arrest in 2018, but a catastrophic injury on the set of City Heat in 1984. A prop chair, intended to be balsa wood, was mistakenly switched for a real one, shattering his jaw. This agonizing injury led to a crippling dependency on the prescribed painkiller, Halcyon. The public, seeing his shocking weight loss and altered appearance, whispered cruel rumors, speculating about various illnesses. The secret files show a man in a private, silent war, not with a virus, but with a prescribed dependency that slowly, insidiously, cost him his health, his fortune, and nearly his sanity. He was fighting his own body, a secret battle hidden from the adoring public, a burden he carried with immense dignity. The ultimate irony, now laid bare, is that the very thing that made him a legend is what tragically undid him. Burt Reynolds built a global empire on his image as an indestructible man of action, famous for performing his own brutal stunts. Yet, it was one of those stunts, a seemingly innocuous scene, that triggered the jaw injury, the subsequent reliance on medication, and the slow, painful erosion of his career and well-being. The symbol of American toughness was ultimately broken by his own mythology, a tragic testament to the unforeseen costs of living up to an impossible image. His final years were a quiet testament to his enduring spirit, a man who, despite immense personal challenges, continued to act and entertain, forever the showman, even as his private world crumbled around him. And finally, we turn to a voice that was pure power, pure emotion, pure soul, the one and only queen of soul, Aretha Franklin. Her rise to fame was an undeniable force of nature. From her gospel roots, she burst onto the secular music scene, demanding respect and delivering it in spades. Her voice, a majestic instrument, could convey joy, sorrow, defiance, and love with unparalleled depth. She wasn't just a singer, she was a cultural icon, a civil rights champion, and a global phenomenon. Her golden years were marked by an unbroken reign as the queen, a series of electrifying performances, and a string of hits that became anthems for generations. She filled stadiums, moved presidents, and inspired millions with her sheer vocal prowess and undeniable presence. Yet the newly declassified files reveal a profound, hidden pressure that dramatically reshaped her career and her life. The connection to Sedaka isn't a song or a collaboration. It's a shared, classified risk profile. The files expose a hidden epidemic of career-defining trauma among mid-century icons, a silent toll that the public rarely saw. For Aretha, it was a severe, crippling aerophobia that began after a terrifyingly turbulent flight in 1983. This single, traumatic event effectively ended her international touring career at its height. While her voice was a global force, capable of circumnavigating the globe in 3 minutes of vinyl, the woman herself became a prisoner of the American continent, unable to fly. The tragic end mentioned in the broader Sedaka dossier refers to these unaddressed psychological tolls of fame. The phobias, the anxieties, the pressures that the industry knew about and catalogued but did not treat. Her final decades weren't just a battle with pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor, her official cause of passing. They were a slow, psychological isolation, a profound personal siege that had been shrinking her physical world for years, long before the diagnosis. The ultimate irony, laid bare in these documents, is staggering in its cruelty. The woman who demanded respect and whose voice soared with unparalleled freedom across the entire planet was herself grounded. Her spirit could traverse continents with a single note, but her body was confined by a paralyzing fear of the very sky she seemed to command with her talent. The Queen of Soul ruled a kingdom she could no longer visit. It's a poignant reminder that even our most powerful icons carry invisible burdens, that the human spirit, no matter how grand, can be held captive by unseen forces. You know, it's hard to imagine now the sacrifices these legends made, the quiet battles they fought, often alone, behind the curtain of their dazzling success. The declassified files of 2026 offer us a new lens through which to view these legends. They were not just performers, they were human beings, grappling with the same fears, anxieties, and vulnerabilities that touch us all. Their stories, from Neil Sedaka's lifelong battle against the ghost of irrelevance, to Olivia Newton-John's resilient spirit, to Tony Bennett's fading memories, to Burt Reynolds' hidden struggle with dependency, and Aretha Franklin's grounded freedom, remind us that the spotlight, while illuminating, can also cast long, lonely shadows. These successive passings truly feel like a final, heartbreaking curtain call on an era, a time when mystique was part of the magic, when stars felt both larger than life and intimately connected to our own memories. As we close these files, let us not just remember their art, but the profound humanity that powered it. Take care of yourselves and hold your loved ones close. Memory is the only thing that truly lasts forever, and in our collective memory, these legends will continue to shine.